Hey guys, it's Tricky Nick here. It's no secret that the new Super Mario Bros. Moniker has become heavily associated with being anything but new.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But what if I told you that a team of Nintendo fans came along, remade these games into something completely new, and even added an ER to the name? That's true innovation. Introducing the newer Super Mario Bros. Series. I already reviewed newer Super Mario Bros. DS when I went on a crazy Canadian caper with Demeech, but my obsession over it has yet to cease. I mean, newer Super Mario Bros. Games have unique levels, enemies, boss fights. Wait, I got an idea! I can rank the boss fights! You already saw the title of this video, you knew what you were getting into. Quick side note, this ranking will only include boss fights that are unique to newer Super Mario Bros. As to not bore you with all the regular old Koopalings and Bowser Jr. fights. So without further ado, grab your pumpkin spice caramels, or just regular old candy if you're not into that, and let's rank every newer Super Mario Bros. Boss fight. Have you ever found yourself in a castle level where you have to dodge a Thwomp? Yeah, well, then you've seen this boss fight. This is a simple boss fight where King Thwomp moves side to side above you, and your job is to make King Thwomp land on the bricks in the same spot enough times to cause his own demise. Much like the final boss of Super Mario Bros. 3, this is pretty underwhelming. And when the competition is this stiff, underwhelming will put you in last place. King Thwomp's second encounter is above his first because there's more strategy to where you want King Thwomp to land. Certain parts of the stage will allow you to defeat him faster than others. It makes this otherwise mediocre fight actually require some brain power. In this boss fight, Kamek turns a regular old Fuzzy into a kingly King Fuzzy who wants to commit mass destruction. His attacks include such intimidating displays as rolling around on the ground and jumping.
Hello, motherfucker.
To defeat King Fuzzy, you bash him over the head a few times with these purple blocks and he croaks. This boss fight would have been much more effective if it weren't for the fact that you can literally stand on this platform and just never get hit. Other than that glaring issue, this fight is unique and fun. It's not every day you see a Fuzzy 1v1 Mario. There are some boss fights that are so similar to one another on this list that I decided to group them together for the ranking. If you've got a problem with it, too bad, this is my video. Pyro and Cyro is indeed one of those fights. With the unique premise of combining Shark Boy and Lava Girl into a simple boss fight, Pyro and Cyro requires a Yoshi that Mario must use to shoot Pyro's fireballs at Cyro, or vice versa. You may be thinking to yourself, Nick, that's an awesome premise, how come it's so low on the list? Well, dear viewer, this is why. You only have to defeat one of the two in this duo to win the fight, and the fight is far too simple. I would have liked it much more if you had to strategize the order in which you attack Pyro and Cyro so you had to defeat them both, or they could have just done something more than a glorified Hammer Bro and Ice Bro firing at you. You can just attack one and pay no attention to the other. It really brings down what could have been an incredible boss fight.
Okay.
King Fuzzy 2 fixes the biggest problem with the first encounter with King Fuzzy. In this King Fuzzy foray, there are no platforms that King Fuzzy can't attack you on, making it much more hectic. Rather than just holding on this one platform and sniping him from above, you're now forced to jump around and dodge his attacks. It actually, you know, works as a boss fight. Overall, it's a much more enjoyable experience than the first King Fuzzy fight.
Sounds like a lot of...
I know Ice Pokey is technically a reskin of Mama Pokey from New Super Mario Bros. DS, but what? Hey, don't question me, this is my ranking! This fight was middle of the road in New Super Mario Bros. DS, and it's middle of the road here. Dodge some projectiles to jump on Ice Pokey's slippery head, and bonk. When I initially saw this boss, I was so excited to play it. Bringing a boss fight from Super Mario Galaxy into 2D seems like a great idea, until you actually put it into practice. All you have to do is bait Mega Topman into hitting the electric walls, which in 3D was intense, but here it's a worse version of bullfighting. Olé! It is kind of difficult to get him close enough to bait, but nothing crazy. The second encounter with Topman sees him becoming faster and more predictable, so that is a little better, but even there, it's still more than manageable.
Victory Screech!
A big problem with many of the boss fights in New Super Mario Bros. Is that you can just jump on the boss's head 3 times without them getting a chance to retaliate. That was remedied by Ricky Wrench. This proletariat mole throws wrenches at the player at high velocities, and we need to dodge them until the spike atop his head disappears. Then, much like in 1984, you squash the hopes of this working class monster by stomping on his head. This boss fight is one Nintendo should take notes on. There's no safe spots where you can camp and wait it out, there's constant action and moving parts. You can't just spam hit this guy 3 times over, it's great. A samurai shy guy. This is not a drill. I am looking at a samurai shy guy, and his name is Samur Guy. This is an awesome theming for a boss fight. It's super creative and different from what we normally expect in a Mario game. As for the fight itself, it's also great. You literally face off with a samurai shy guy inside of a dojo. If you're able to dodge all the samurai guy's sword attacks and bonk his head 3 times without landing your cheeks on his sword, then you truly are worthy of a black belt, because it's actually a decently challenging fight. It's not as hard as some of the other ones later on this list, but I enjoyed it so much. Here we are, the top 5. All 5 of these bosses are in the top 5, mainly for their platformer combo wombo fights, as I like to call them. All 5 of these fights combine a unique boss fight with a platforming section to truly elevate them to a new level. The first fight, or fights I should say, to start off the top 5 is Boolosus. Okay, I'm sorry, that was the last one. This boss fight requires the player to throw these light blocks at Boolosus to knock him further and further back until this button Thanos snaps him. It's a great back and forth between Boolosus and the player with some rudimentary platforming. There's not much else to say about this fight. It's just fun. If I had to give it a critique though, I'm a little disappointed by the fact that Boolosus doesn't actually actively attack the player with anything. Did I mention I love Luigi's Mansion? You forgot about the DS fights on this list, didn't you little slimy sausage? This secret boss fight sees us platforming our way through a haunted mansion while King Boo is literally chasing us. Holy crap, this is intense. There's boos flying around, big pumpkins, spiky spines, and oh yeah, did I mention King Boo? The King Boo fight takes the Boolosus fight, gets rid of the monotony of throwing the light blocks, and adds intense platforming instead. Also, the fact that King Boo actually has an attack unlike Boolosus is great too. This refined version of an already great fight lands King Boo in 3rd. Oh, did I also mention that I love Luigi's Mansion?
Shut up!
At first, the Bowser fight in newer Super Mario Bros. Wii appears to be the same as the new Super Mario Bros. Wii one, which in itself was already amazing, so I wouldn't even be upset if that was the case. But then, after you hit that first button, you know you're in for a treat. You gotta strike down Bowser with a bombardment of belligerent bombs, then you enter phase 2. Why do I hear boss music? Holy out of nowhere, this goes from your run-of-the-mill Mario fight to something straight out of Cuphead. This aerial phase sees flying meteors, wrenches, fireballs, electricity, all being sent at Mario while he chases Bowser's airship. This continues on until Mario has hit Bowser with enough cannonballs to finally send him to his demise. Do I even have to explain why this one is incredible? I mean, I kinda already did, but... You're constantly engaged in the action, the fight itself is challenging but well balanced, and everything right down to the environment feels perfect. I didn't expect the newer team to top the original new Super Mario Bros. Wii fight, but they did somehow. So if this masterclass boss fight got second, what could possibly earn first?
What the dog doing?
Before I talk about why Bowser's newer DS boss fight is the best, I implore you to go try it out first. It is truly one of, if not the best 2D Mario boss fight ever made. It combines elements from Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, New Super Mario Bros. DS, and New Super Mario Bros. Wii to create the ultimate boss fight experience. You begin this fight in the pouring rain amidst a crazy storm. You arrive and see Bowser and Bowser Jr. just sitting there, menacingly. And then it's time to boss fight. Phase 1, you fight Bowser Jr. while dodging Bowser's attacks from above. He fires bullet bills and rains down fireballs to try to thwart your plans. But then after you defeat Bowser Jr., Phase 2 begins. This is where you have to platform as Bowser chases you, with him slamming down and throwing bombs all around. If you manage to reach the end of this platform section, you reach Phase 3, the conclusion of this fight. Much like in New Super Mario Bros. 3.
I said, hold up. Wait a minute.
3. You have to bait Bowser to slam down until he causes his own defeat. Kinda like King Thwomp, but way better because he's actually attacking you while you're doing it. So for being the closest thing I've ever seen to a perfect 2D Mario boss fight, Bowser's newer DS boss fight is the best newer Super Mario Bros. Boss. And that concludes my ranking of every newer Super Mario Bros. Boss fight. What do you want, an outro or something? Get lost!